Welcome to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success. I'm also excited to share my book, Straight from the Admissions Office, a review of my biggest takeaways from the first few hundred podcast episodes. It's packed with direct insights from admissions professionals and practical tips to help students and their families navigate the college admissions process. You can find all of the information in the show notes. Welcome to The Cap, where we are here to speak with college reps and other professionals in the field of college admissions to help answer all your questions and guide you through every step of the process. So if you're serious about college admissions, you've come to the right place. Are you ready? Let's talk about it. And now, here's your host, Dr. John Durante. Welcome to The Cap, the College Admissions Process Podcast. I am your host, John Durante, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome back Jarvis Dieujuste, who is an admissions advisor at Hunter College. Of course, Hunter is part of the CUNY system right here in New York. Jarvis, thank you so much for coming back. How are you?
Thank you, John. Always a pleasure to work and collaborate with you. I'm doing well. Thank you.
Fantastic. And for those of you that don't know, our first episode was number 56. Jarvis, it was released back in July of 2022, quite a long time ago. So since then, what can you tell us that is new at Hunter College?
Couple of things, actually. So we have a new nutrition and wellness program. That's one of our selective programs at the college. We have a new business certificate program for those who are interested in business. They want to maybe dip their toe into business while focusing on another major. And the third thing, that's actually not technically a part of us, but Grand Central Terminal. So it's now easier for students to get to Hunter.
Awesome. So you have a lot of new programs, mainly nutrition and wellness, a business certificate program, and of course, who doesn't love an easier commute? Now, Hunter College is a vital part of the CUNY system and deeply integrated into New York City itself. So how does Hunter's mission come to life for students, both inside of the classrooms and throughout New York City's endless opportunities outside of your classrooms?
So our slogan is Mihi Cura Futuri, which means the care of the future is mine. And so we illustrate that in a number of different ways. In the classroom, our faculty members are very well-known figures in their fields. So they bring all of that experience from their profession into the classroom. And then all of our connections through either our faculty or our various other offices, those come into play as well, providing tons of opportunities to students outside of the classroom, whether that's in cultural attractions, internships, other employment opportunities. So we do that in a lot of different ways.
Well, that's terrific. And I love that slogan, the care of the future is mine. And if everybody, believed that, what a wonderful world it would be, right? So thank you so much for that, Jarvis. And let's revisit your admissions process, which of course is something that's so near and dear to so many students and their families. What does your holistic approach mean at Hunter, especially as you assess applicants from a wide range of educational backgrounds and communities across New York City and of course beyond that as well?
So holistic means we take a larger view at a student's achievements. So we're looking at not only their high school average, we're looking at the types of courses they've taken, the difficulty of those courses. We look for letters of recommendation. We also require a college essay. And all of those parts create a mosaic, a bigger picture of the student's achievements. And in my case, honestly, I love to do interviews for students. So that way I can learn about what they're looking to do, if they're a good fit for the college, how they respond to adversity. Do they play well with others? I think that's a very vital process for me. And the students that I have interviewed have gone on to do well at the college.
Well, it's interesting that you mentioned the interview because so many colleges are receiving far more applications than ever before. So it's difficult for them to do the interviews. So I'm assuming that the interviews are optional. And what more can you say in terms of how important they are in your review process?
So I tell students that if they feel like they have a legitimate concern about being admitted to the college, I tell them to reach out to me, and I will have a more detailed discussion with them regarding their fit and their ability to succeed at the college.
Fantastic. And you gave a nice review of your holistic approach and touched upon a lot of different pieces, which I'd like to unpackage now, Jarvis. So, when you review a student's transcript, for example, how does your team evaluate rigor and performance within the context of all of those different high schools, some of which may not even offer APs or honors classes?
So in that case, we take a look at how students from that high school have done in the past. We then take a look at how they do relative to other schools in the area. And we also take a look at the courses themselves. If they have like advanced placement, if they've got honors, if they don't, other activities that they may have. And then from there, that's where the external factors come in. Like, are they doing extracurricular activities, volunteer opportunities? How does that essay look? Letters of recommendation, how strong are those letters of recommendation?
Fantastic. And I love how you explained how you look at how have students from that child's high school, how have they performed in the past to help you with that overall process. Now, you mentioned the essay a couple of times. What is it specifically that you're looking from that essay, right? That's not easily found in other parts of the overall application. And can you share an example of an essay that really resonated with you?
I can give you two actually. So this one's going to take some time. In terms
That's
of the
fine.
college, in terms of the college essay, I believe that it is a window to a student's soul to some extent, right? They can tell us in an essay how well they write. Can they stay on task? Are they interested in what the college offers? Are they a good fit for the college? How they feel the college can help them, what they might want to do after graduating. So that provides a lot of insight to us.
Well, that's terrific. I love that. How will they write? Can they stay on task? What are their interests? And how the college could help them write in this journey to continue with their education. So I appreciate that. Now, what about an example of an essay that resonated with you? Was there one that you thought, wow, this was such a great topic that the student wrote about, and it's one of those that you remember, years later?
Yes, absolutely. So I had one particular student who wrote about a very unique topic. It was about the number seven and how it correlated to the word friends. And the student drew upon a number of different parallels across both topics. And the compare and contrast was just so unique that it's an essay that really stuck with me over the years. It was well written. They stayed on task, and it was a very unique subject to discuss, and it's something that stuck with me. The that student, I see them on campus nowadays, as a matter of fact. It was a very recent essay.
That's fantastic. Thank you so much for sharing that topic. And it just goes to show that it's not necessarily the topic, but how you use the topic to really add to the overall application. Here's a student who wrote about the number seven and its correlation to the word friends, which of course has seven letters in it. And so I could imagine what the rest of the essay was like. So, Jarvis, do you recalculate GPAs to a standardized scale? And how do you consider differences in high school curricular and grading policies when reviewing applications, again, from so many different high schools?
So we do not recalculate GPAs. We take the transcript GPA as it is. If it's not there, then we may have to work a little magic with it. But otherwise, if the average is given to us, that's the one that we're going to use. We go unweighted. And in terms of considering the differences between high school curricula, so that goes back to the answer I gave earlier. We look at how students from that high school have done in the past, and then we look at the other high schools in the area.
Fantastic. And Hunter has a selective program called the Macaulay Honors College. Jarvis, can you walk us through how the application process differs for that program, and what kind of student tends to be a strong match for that experience?
Yes. So the Macaulay Honors College is the top scholarship package within the CUNY system. In terms of the perks, it is a full tuition scholarship for those who live in the state of New York, so New York State residents. They also offer a stipend to do research or study abroad, and they get preferred access to housing. So, a lot of perks involved. In terms of the application process, so students will apply to the Macaulay Honors College and they select their home school as a part of that Macaulay Honors cohort. So, for example, a student would apply to Hunter to be a Hunter student in the Macaulay Honors cohort. From there, the application process is a little different. On the CUNY application, they'll indicate that they're interested in Macaulay. It's one of the first two questions on the application. They select that, it becomes a Macaulay application. Now, in terms of what is needed, students will need a additional letter of recommendation, so they require three. There is also a second essay and a writing sample, so we want to make sure that the student can communicate and write effectively. And there is an interview process that is required as well.
Fantastic. So the interview process is required for the Macaulay Honors College. Now, Hunter College is test optional. Is it test optional for those students applying to Macaulay's as well?
It is actually. With that said, for Macaulay, it is vastly more competitive. So students that are looking to apply to Macaulay, we recommend that scores be submitted for them. However, there is no penalty regardless of whether the student wants to apply for general admission or to the Macaulay Honors College.
Fantastic. And Hunter is home to a large commuter population. Jarvis, how does the college foster a sense of community, belonging, and engagement outside of academics for students who may not live on campus?
So, as an alum, I can safely say it is a great place to make friends. I admittedly was blessed with a big squad from my high school, but that didn't keep me from branching out into other communities while I was there. I was one of the founding fathers of our video game club at the college, which was awesome. I was also in about five other clubs and organizations at the college, each with their own specific aim. And we have about 100 clubs at the college, ranging from social, political, sexual orientation, hobbies, interests, academics, and even some random stuff like we have a ham and cheese club at Hunter.
Well, who doesn't love ham and cheese, right? That's awesome. I love it. Were you a part of that club? Could you give us a little bit more about what they do?
So I have been told that it is a speech and debate club, but I'd also like to believe that they focus on the delicacy itself as well.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love it. Thank you for sharing that. And what about your students who may have had an IEP or a 504 plan or who are neurodiverse? What types of academic accommodations and personal support does Hunter provide? And how can students access those resources once they're enrolled?
Excellent question, John. So, our Office of Accessibility is the number one office to go to for students with IEPs, 504 plans, or anyone who is neurodiverse. I recommend that students make these concerns known as soon as they are admitted, as soon as they start the enrollment process. Make themselves known to that office because if they don't know them, they can't help them.
Well, that's great advice. And another thing that students really talk a lot about is affordability. Hunter's commitment to affordability is central to its mission. Jarvis, can you walk us through how financial aid works at Hunter, including TAP, Excelsior, and other opportunities unique to CUNY or the state of New York?
Awesome question. So we have all three of those things available. So there's the New York State Tuition Assistance Program, there is the Excelsior Scholarship, and there's also FAFSA. So the number one place to start would be FAFSA.gov. Once a student gets the FAFSA application up and running, lists Hunter on the application. After they have applied, our financial aid office will capture that information. It gets sent to them. Then from there, our financial aid office will determine New York State TAP eligibility. And then the Excelsior Scholarship is a separate application, but it certainly should not be forgotten because Excelsior is a gap scholarship. So whatever FAFSA and TAP do not cover, the Excelsior Scholarship can cover the rest. And so historically speaking, 75% of our students receive financial aid. I was a student that unfortunately lost a family member during my time in undergrad.
I'm
So
sorry.
I reached out to the financial aid office to say, what can I do in this case? Then I was eligible for Pell, and I actually didn't pay tuition for my last 5 semesters at the college. So I do not have student debt, and it's a wonderful feeling to have.
Well, that's definitely wonderful, and we're sorry about your loss, obviously. And I think you know, Jarvis, I always put the Office of Undergraduate Admissions in the show notes. But if there's anything that you want to link up, more information about TAP, the Excelsior program, or anything else, just send it to me. And of course, we'll make it available in the show notes to our listeners. Now, there's also a lot of students I know that want to transfer to Hunter. And so for those transfer students, Jarvis, how does the college support a smooth transition, both in terms of credit evaluation and even community integration?
So, in terms of community integration, we've also got a transfer orientation that we offer to our transfer students to show them the lay of the land, all of the offices that are available to them. And going forward, we are going to have a really cool spot called the Transfer Center to make that transition even smoother. So, in regards to credit evaluation, that team is a dedicated team that takes a look at a student's coursework on a case by case basis. That way, we give the student the chance to come in with as many credits as possible. And let's say our team misses something, a student can always reach out to our transfer evaluation team, get a course equivalency form, and speak to the department. That way, they can have that desired course counted towards their undergraduate degree at Hunter.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like you have a lot of teams in place and systems in place to help all types of students, whether they're transferring or they have any other special needs. So we appreciate the overview. And I was also curious as tools like AI change how students approach writing, learning, and research. Jarvis, how is your admissions team thinking about the role of essays and the authenticity in the application process moving forward?
Well, John, you know me. I love to be refreshing and honest with my students. And so I expect the same with the students that I interact with, right? So, in terms of their essays, we make sure that we take a look at them to look for that authenticity. If there's a student that might have an essay that doesn't quite reflect their academic record, that raises flags for us, you know? So we try to take a real close look at an essay because it provides certain degrees of context that a transcript may not provide. Similarly, letters of recommendation do the same thing.
Fantastic. I appreciate that openness. And this has been a phenomenal conversation, as was our first episode. So, Jarvis, before I wrap up, is there a question that I didn't ask you today that you wish I had? Or is there a topic that simply didn't come up throughout this conversation that you'd like to leave with our listeners now?
Nothing I can think of. Nope. Nothing I can think of this time around.
That's awesome. Well, we appreciate you. And the last question, of course, is what are your top three pieces of advice for students and their families getting ready for the college admissions process?
I would definitely say take your time. That means probably start sophomore year into junior year. Do not wait until senior year. Under no circumstances. The the process nowadays is far too competitive to not have sufficient amounts of research done by senior year. Because as soon as senior year hits, I tell all of your students to reach out to the guidance office to get those applications in. That's number one. Number two, reading is fundamental. I unfortunately have far too many students who reach out to me in a cold sweat in regards to what to do next. Meanwhile, they have multiple communications sitting in their inboxes and they don't read them, unfortunately. And that's something that they absolutely must do. Number 3, I would say take a breath. It can be a very stressful time, and I think students need to understand that sometimes it may go your way, sometimes it may not. And if it does not, it is not the end of the world. If a student does not get into a college as a freshman, there is always the opportunity to go there as a transfer student. This is where the hard work and the diligence comes into play. So take your time. Reading is fundamental, and take a breath, but still work hard.
Well, those are tremendous pieces of advice, and this has been awesome, Jarvis. I'm so grateful that you came back for a follow-up episode. I look forward to having you again in the future. Thank you so much, Jarvis.
Always a pleasure to work with you, John. Thank you so much.
Thank you. The pleasure is all ours. And to everyone out there, good luck with the college search. Take care all, and best wishes. Thank you for joining us on this episode of The CAP, the College Admissions Process Podcast. We hope you enjoyed the show. If you did, please don't forget to tell a friend and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and wherever you listen to your podcasts. I am your host, John Durante, and I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of The CAP. Thank you for listening to the College Admissions Process Podcast presented by Prep Expert. Prep Expert offers live online SAT and ACT courses with the best score guarantees, instructors, and curriculum. Go to prepexpert.com to guarantee your child's success.